Welcome to Dork Souls Podcast, the podcast where two dorky souls get together and shamelessly nerd out. I'm Hector Navarro.
And I am Lisa Wallen. And on today's episode, we talk about Club 33 at Disneyland. Then we quiz each other on our own interests. And then we talk about the more niche things as well, you know, to get to know each other a little bit more.
Yeah, so be sure to rate us on your preferred podcast platform of choice, and be sure to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. We'd really, really appreciate it. Without further ado, here's the episode. Enjoy.
We still have to come up with a catchphrase.
We have one already. We have a catchphrase.
Yeah. What is it?
It's Dork Souls, like Sega.
Yum.
No.
With the Red Robin yum
No.
at the end.
Dork Souls, yum.
Yum.
Yeah.
I do that to every catchphrase, actually. Just add the Red
You go,
Robin.
have you had your break today?
Yum. Go to therapy. Yum. Anyways, hello. Welcome to episode 2 of the Dork Souls Podcast. I am Lisa.
And I'm Hector.
You are Hector.
I am Hector. You're Lisa.
Yes, that is.
You're Lisa. I'm Hector.
We have established who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We did a whole episode of it. We did our first episode. Congrats to us. And
let me get around. Yeah. High
yeah.
five.
I mean, like, obviously, these are all coming out in batches, so this isn't a weekly thing yet, but it will be.
Yeah.
But in our first episode, we introduced ourselves and what we do and how are we nerds and how are we different nerds from each other, which, you know, I feel like I didn't learn anything new about you.
Really?
But except for I did learn what DC stood for.
I thought I was bearing my soul. I thought I told good stories about my childhood, and you were like, no, I probably have already just told
I've already
you them.
heard all these. No, it's
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
But
All
they
right.
haven't. These
That's
people,
fair.
they haven't yet.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I did learn that DC stood for Detective Comics.
That's right.
And
Your eyes darted for a second like, I might be wrong, but I'm going to commit to it.
But we did.
You're
We
right.
did, since we recorded the first episode, we went to Disneyland together,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's
was
true.
really fun.
Mhm.
You're a great Disneyland goer, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are.
What makes somebody a great Disneyland goer?
I've gone to Disneyland with a bunch of men, and they're
Yeah.
not usually as into it as you are. Like, you Disneyland yourself out.
That makes me sound childish,
No.
but I am proud of that.
Listen.
I'd never want to be known as a full-grown man that is somehow unenthusiastic at being at Disneyland. Grow up, dude.
Yeah,
Grow up.
I get the anti-Disneyland adult. Like,
Sure.
if you make your whole personality Disney, like
Sure.
for
To a degree.
yeah,
To a degree. Yeah.
But
You have to be reasonable.
if you don't go to a theme park and you're not excited, what's wrong with you?
Yes. If you can't play along with
Yeah.
what they're offering
The
you,
happiest place on earth.
I mean, yeah, it's I just think that it is
Corporate run happiest place on earth.
dude, you're paying to be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not asking you to LARP, but like you're paying to be there. So have yourself a good time. That drives me up the wall to see like adults that pay money to go there, and then they're sort of like above it all. I'm like, stop, then just stay home.
Also, you're at
Then just stay home.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like I don't want to have kids because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not going to be like a good mother. But when I go to Disneyland, I'm like, I can't wait to bring my nieces here
Yes.
and just be their
'Cause
aunt.
you're a great
and just see
aunt.
them.
Yeah,
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 because
yeah.
I'm a great aunt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like for example, when I went to Disneyland, I went to Club 33,
Oh my God.
which you've already been to. So
Oh my
let's not act like I'm so.
Hang on a minute. Producer Mark there, when you said I went to Club 33, looked at you like, oh, son of a bit, like this spoiled ass person. And then you were like, but Hector, you've already been there. And then he goes, wow, both of these pieces of shit. I should defend myself for a second. I
Yeah.
should clarify. I got to go one time. I did. I was invited with my, at the time, college girlfriend. Her aunt, speaking of cool aunts, worked at a dentist's office whose like head dentist was a member of Club 33.
Was Walt Disney.
Was Walt Disney's nephew or something. No, but like whose head dentist was a member. And I had no idea about this back then. And so my college girlfriend at the time was like, do you want to come with me? We can go in sort of a little group because people that are members have to send people in their stead if they can't go. You're expected to go a certain number of times during the year.
Yeah.
Because you're already paying a certain amount of money, and it's obscene to be a member of this club.
And I was going to say, for people who don't know, Club 33 is very exclusive membership-only club at Disney.
It was the thing that Walt Disney had built where he would literally take visiting dignitaries and royalty and
This is where
actors and
laws
celebrity.
are made.
Yeah. To go and break bread above Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And I think it used to be way more of a, especially like before the internet, kind of like the In-N-Out secret menu. It used to be way more of a like, you have to know, and it's almost like a mythical
I still
thing.
know the In-N-Out secret
But now you
menu.
could internet search Club 33 and kind of learn the history about it.
You still can't see pictures of the bathroom though.
Really?
Because you can't take pictures in the bathroom.
Ah,
I'd even see if anyone
weird.
snuck in there.
How do you know that?
Because it's a big sign. And thing is, I feel like Disney, now that they have the facial recognition, like they will find you.
Maybe.
And the thing is, I at first was like, this is dumb, like membership only thing, whatever. And I realized like the process to get into Club 33. So I went because my best friend's sister has a membership, and she said the only way she can get in is because she sent a letter 5 years ago, a handwritten letter.
Stop.
And then didn't hear back until June of last year. And they said, we want to do a Zoom call with you next week to see if we can even consider you in. And she was like, I have to change my schedule for this. Didn't radio silence for 3 months, and then they said you're accepted, and then all the initiation stuff, but they had to do a background check. They had to ask what, philanthropy charities they're involved with.
Yeah, because it's only rich people that are in.
Yeah, but not even just rich people, like rich people who are not
good people.
Well, good people on paper. I'll say that, because there are some bad people I know who are members there.
So you also got to go with your friend Sam.
Yeah.
Who we brought up on the podcast before. Sam's the best. She's
Sam's
great.
the best,
This is the same Sam that was like, that would call a Gundam action figure a little doll.
Yeah, which it is.
Which it is. But Sam, I got to tell Sam this, and I don't think I told you, my favorite Club 33 story is that I heard about Guillermo del Toro, the director of many different movies, Pacific Rim, Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water.
He's also in Death Stranding.
He's in Death Stranding. Okay, good. That's good to tie into what we're going to talk about. We'll get to that. But he's also a director first, before he is a Hideo Kojima friend. Yeah. So Guillermo del Toro years ago was supposed to direct a Haunted Mansion movie for Disney. So he was negotiating his contract, and he put in his contract, also, I need to become a member of Club 33.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And they said no. And then he walked. He's like, okay, then I'm not directing your movie. And then they went, wait. Okay, hang on. Okay, we'll figure something out. And then they put it in his contract. So he was allowed to become a member of Club 33. And then the movie, creatively, whatever, fell through. He didn't end up having to do the movie, but he's now a member of Club 33. And he was at first rejected. So that's how
there's a lot of people who are rejected.
Strict it is to get into this thing.
I need a list of celebrities who are rejected, so I feel cool.
Yeah.
Because I have no money.
Technically, you were not accepted either.
I
wasn't, just a guest.
But I gotta go. So I spent $30 on a tuna melt, and it was life-changing.
When I went like 15, 20 years ago, I spent like $120 on like a steak dinner. And it was the best. It was great.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I bought a hat, and I showed you I still have my hat, a Club 33 merch
they don't
hat.
Have the hat anymore.
And it is beat up.
And that hat is probably worth so much money.
I'm gonna keep it forever.
And you can't sell them online. If you sell them online, they'll find your IP and everything. It is
really
crazy. I did a whole. This is the best thing about this podcast is you do the deep dive. Just do deep dives.
Hyperfixate on this.
I deep dived on Club 33 about if you have pictures of the bathroom, they'll find your IP, where the picture was taken. They'll figure out who you're with. They have the facial recognition. I'm like, oh, this is insane. So you're like risking a lot, and
risking like getting kicked out and
not even just getting kicked out, but revoking your membership, being banned from being a member at Disneyland. You can even get banned from Disneyland. It's crazy. I mean, you can get banned from Disneyland for being visibly drunk. Disney, and that's what I mean is when people are like, "Oh, I don't understand." Like Disney purposely creates an environment where you cannot be miserable.
They're trying to be, and so there's that kids there. They're trying to be cool.
Yeah. So go back to what I was saying earlier. Is like you weren't a miserable person to be around.
Thank you. Likewise.
Every time I've gone to Disneyland with a dude, they always are like, I don't care. Like they don't. You're at Disneyland.
You're not cooler.
Not a lot of people can go to Disneyland anyways.
You're not. I'm not like. I don't think I was embarrassing myself or embarrassing my friends, but I'll tell you what. When we did Rise of the Resistance, and you're also a great person to go to Disneyland with. You have to play along a little bit. Yeah. And that was, you know what I mean? That was fun. And you're like, and you're there flirting with Kylo Ren. You're like, I'll tell you where the secret base. And I'm like, Lisa, don't. It's a secret base. You can't. The Resistance needs us. I want to
be trapped in the room. Okay.
That's the joke, And then we got to, and I think Sam had she not gone on Star Wars? I can't remember.
She's done it once.
She's done it once. But anyway, that's the other thing is like, you just have to, dude, you got to let go and have fun a little bit.
The whole reason why I brought up Disneyland is because when we were in California Adventure and we were on the Guardians Tower and you're waiting outside, you sent a picture of Loki and Thor, and I said, I love Detective Comics and it ruined your night. So
Yeah.
I could not let that go. And then I became the person where I was like, do you know what DC stands for to everybody in line? And you know what? They did not know.
Really?
They were like, I don't know. I was like, oh,
Good.
it stands for Detective Comics.
Hair swish.
Okay.
It's Detective
I still don't know what the 33 means in Club 33. I think it's the street, maybe.
Well, that was the age that Jesus was crucified.
Yeah, there
and
you
Walt,
go.
Hardcore Christian Walt Disney. No, I don't know, actually. That's actually... I want to look that up. The 33 comes from... Is that like an address thing? Mark's about to... He's looking it up right now. He's about to tell us right now where the 33 from Club...
It comes from its address, 33 Royal Street, New Orleans Square.
Yep. There we go.
What a boring
there we go.
history of that.
That's fine.
I know.
Who cares? It's fine. But that way you can extrapolate whatever meaning you want from it.
Yeah.
Walt Disney knew that Kurt Cobain was going to, leave this earth at age 33.
Yeah, they
so he futuristically was like, I want, whatever you want.
33 Club, whatever is it called.
You can make it whatever you want. Tupac, Kurt Cobain, Jesus Christ.
But I even posted on my Twitter and my Instagram story that was at Club 33.
Yeah.
And everyone was so positive about it. They were like, oh my God, that's so cool. How did you get in? Blah, blah, blah.
I think you should, if you have an opportunity, go once. I don't think, frankly,
Mark, you should go once.
Yeah, you should if you can. But I'm also not but you should become a member, and that's a cool thing. I don't think you need to do it.
I think the initiation fee is $100,000.
Way too much money.
Yeah.
Way too much money. But it's cool to go there.
But then it's $22,000 a year.
Oh, a steal. So you just have to go 600 times and then it's worth it or whatever. No, that's crazy.
It was awesome. I had a gin fizz which is pure foam. It was great.
Oh,
I mean, but you're not paying to be you're not paying for the food. You're paying for the atmosphere of being there. And it had a good vibe because the only other thing I had relation to it was I went to Soho House in New York and they have them all over and it's
that's a hoity-toity New York restaurant. Yeah, they're right here.
It's the membership's $5,000 a year.
Jeez,
it's so dumb.
Jeez.
But I went with a friend, and it was really cool. I mean, it's the building is beautiful.
But you were I'm good. You were you kind of go one time.
The vibe was very Disney. The Club 33 vibe is it's a very cool place.
Yes.
Everyone around here is really cool, really nice, really respectful. This is more this is where rich celebrities go to cheat on their wives. There's a
Soho or Club 33?
The Soho House.
Okay.
Club 33, no.
Okay, great.
That'd be a really odd place because the thing is when you walk out of Club 33, you're in Disneyland. You can't have that vibe,
Yes.
You can't really bring your mistresses to Disneyland.
I mean,
you could.
I'm sure people do.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. It's weird
it's a weird thing. So anyways, we went to Disneyland. It was great because we're friends in real life. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But so first podcast episode, we deep dive into each other's little interests.
Yes.
And we introduced ourselves.
Yes.
But what thing that struck me was not just the Detective Comics thing, but
you're
also
still on that. That's great.
I am because it transitions. Listen, I'm a good transitioner. Okay, it's I used to do this for real money.
Don't talk about it. Just do it. Just transition.
It's we used to do this for money.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. It made me think about even though we both are, dorks in our respective genres. There are things that people I thought would know regularly and they don't, normal things.
From your worlds that you are into, anime and manga, you think that there are things that people base level know, regular people know, that you're surprised that they don't.
Yeah.
The way that I said, here's actually what the DC and DC Comics stands for, because I know that most people don't know.
Yeah.
So that really stuck with you, and you're like, what else do people not know that you just kind of assume they do?
I had this show a few years ago. Obviously it doesn't exist anymore.
Great name. Get ready for it.
Not the Kawaii 5-0.
Oh, okay.
But it was Kawaii 5-0. But I had another one called Skeptic's Guide to Anime. It was a G4 Twitch channel show. That's why I started streaming. And the whole thing was every week it was me and a person who wasn't in anime, and I had to sell them on a series type thing.
Cool.
And it was really fun. I love doing it. I love doing the research. I love
You love being an anime ambassador.
Yeah, and then he would watch it and then quiz me on my knowledge to see how much much I would remember.
Just get into it, Lisa. Quiz me. Just go.
Just
I'm ready.
quiz me. But
I know you're dying. I know you're champing at the bit to quiz me about anime.
I did get, I mean, I don't know if I'm dying,
Yeah.
but I wrote a list of like, and I put some video game stuff in here as well because
Okay.
we are doing video game stuff.
Okay.
And I wanted to see how much of the knowledge you have of this.
Okay.
And like, don't be offended that some of these are very basic.
Not at all. Can I fire back at you as well? The same thing? Can I quiz you? Do you want to go first? Do you want to alternate?
That was the homework I assigned 45 minutes ago.
That's the homework. Are we going 1 and 1? Or are you going to do like your full 10 and then I do 10?
We'll just see where it goes.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
How about this? I asked you a question, then you asked me one.
Sounds good. That's
but
alternating.
I'll probably have a lot more.
Go for it.
Okay. Do you know who...
Question number 1.
Question number 1. Do you know who the big 3 are in anime?
Oh my God. The big 3 in anime. It is Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Naruto.
No, actually.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I
Okay.
took a guess. I don't know.
Do you know Mark?
No, Mark does not.
It's gotta be Gundam.
Oh, good guess.
No.
Good guess.
I like how it's just Gundam.
That's
Gotta
it.
be.
Gundam. The first one, the second one, the third one. Yeah.
Actually, the big 3 are Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece.
Oh, I should have known One Piece. I should have known.
Yeah.
We're too old. I went Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon.
Well, that's the thing. So
prior generation.
I don't
Yeah.
bag either one of you for saying
Okay.
Gundam or Dragon Ball because we are older.
Yes.
So we think these are the series I think that made anime popular in the US.
The impact.
But honestly, it was Naruto,
Piece.
Bleach, and One Piece.
Yeah.
Those were the big ones where not only did all the kids, like
Okay.
the kids started getting into shonen stuff, but also the mangas were so popular at the time too.
Got it.
So those are, I don't know what the...
You're just going to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Because I didn't plan this. I'm making these up on the spot.
Okay.
I didn't know what your questions are going to be, but I can give you a comparative question right now.
Okay.
Lisa,
Yes.
question number 1 for you.
Okay.
Do you know, in the world of comics, comparatively,
Who are the big 3?
who are the big 2 in comics? When people talk about the big 2, what are they referring to?
Oh, are you talking about like the brands or the actual series? Because I know there's DC and Marvel.
You got it. That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
But that's different.
No, it's not.
Because this one is like that would be Shonen Jump. And
I see. The big genre.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this then? What are DC's?
But I did get it. So.
You got it right. You got it
Yeah.
right. Here's a follow-up question that's kind of related.
Okay.
In the world of DC Comics, what is their Trinity? And then what is the Marvel equivalent Trinity or big 3? So what are the big 3 within DC? What are the big 3 in Marvel?
DC would be Batman and Superman, I would assume.
That's 2.
2. I wouldn't know who... The thing is, I would say a third, but I'm like, is it Marvel or DC?
Oh, boy. Okay, take a guess.
Wonder Woman?
That's correct. You got the
it
Trinity.
really?
You got the Trinity right in DC Comics.
Okay.
Now take a shot at Marvel. What would be the sort of equivalent, if those are considered the Trinity in the world of DC, in the Marvel universe, who are the prime 3?
Spider-Man?
No.
Oh, really? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible Hulk?
No.
Iron Man?
Yes.
Okay, Iron Man?
Yep.
Thor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Captain America.
That's correct.
Okay.
And it's also, I should clarify, at one point in Marvel Comics, the big 3 could be considered Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine.
That's the thing.
I would have said X-Men.
No. And just
Avengers.
Because here's the thing: in universe, you got to think in universe. If you live in the Marvel universe, the X-Men are cool, but people think they're freaks. Spider-Man's cool, but people think he's a menace. The Avengers are sort of the Justice League. Everybody kind of likes the Avengers, and they do think of Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor as the sort of top 3 members of that club.
But that is kind of relatable because you thinking, of course, Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon had a much bigger impact than I think Bleach did.
Sure.
But at the time, those were the 3 that were blowing up, and everyone was like, "Oh, anime needs to be a thing." Even though I don't agree, I think way earlier 90s, lady.
And you found these big 3 like this is a known answer on the internet.
It is a known answer on the internet. I can even Google why are they called the big 3.
I get it. One
I
Piece
get
is
it.
huge.
We're way out of it.
What's your next question, Lisa? Hit me
It's
with it.
because of popularity and length.
Yeah.
It originated in the Western anime fandom in the mid 2000s. That's all it is. All 3 series ran for at least 15 years and had 70
Jeez.
volumes. So it's like, yeah,
That's
you know.
big.
And also, you have to think in the early 2000s when anime was getting big,
Yeah.
like they had a lot more resources to watch anime. We were all word of mouth before that.
Yeah, and like, you know, taped over VHS and
I had to go to Suncoast and spend too much money on 3 episodes
remember.
of Sailor Moon.
Even though I'm wearing a Don shirt, I'm not the anime guy.
You're not the anime
Not
guy.
Okay.
Okay, my second question,
Yes.
which Mark might know, what is Naruto's catchphrase?
It's I'm ready. It is? Is it
See,
that?
you know,
Oh.
It's Date Bayo.
What is it?
Date Bayo.
Date bayo.
Which means nothing.
Date bayo.
It
It
abs-
doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. But in the English, it's believe it.
Believe it. That's pretty sick.
Believe it.
Okay. Equivalent, relatable, comparative question for
Date
you.
Bayo really doesn't mean anything, though. It's crazy. It's just like a made up word.
I love that. That's great.
It's just
Is there no root word in Japanese though? Is there nothing that like, oh, this kind of is a play on words in Japanese?
It's kind of like, it's just like a whatever term. It's just
Okay.
like he's like a young kid. He's
Okay.
adolescent. He's kind of, you know, aloof. So he's just
Okay.
like, Date Bayo.
Date bayo.
Yeah, you know.
That doesn't mean anything.
No.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, I don't
Lisa.
know the Japanese language that much, but I do know that.
Okay.
Okay.
Your second question.
Yeah.
When it comes to the heart of the Fantastic Four,
Okay.
Ben Grimm, the Thing,
Yeah.
what is the Thing's catchphrase?
Jesus.
This is such
It's,
basic information for me. This is great.
Hey, let's go get. Hey, I'm a thing. That's
I'm
it.
a thing?
Hey, it's me. I'm the thing. That's what it is.
Incorrect. Mark, what is it? It's clobbering time.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, you did. You knew that from pop culture.
Here's the thing. I knew the term. I just
Here's
didn't know
the
what it was
thing.
from. Yeah, I thought that was from like a cereal brand.
It's clobbering time. I'm going to clobber this cereal. No, that's Ben Grimm, the Thing, Benjamin J. Grimm. You'll see after this summer, there's a movie coming out that's a Fantastic Four movie.
The
You'll watch
only
it.
Fantastic Four I saw was like the really crappy one that came out like
That doesn't
30
narrow it
years
down.
ago.
That doesn't narrow it down. Sure.
Yeah,
And then 20 years ago and then 10 years ago. Yeah, Fantastic Four has been done dirty.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So hopefully this year will be.
I think that's the overwhelming
to be
thing
good.
about the universe of superhero stuff is that there's too many of everything. Like there's like 5 Batmans.
Well, that's a whole separate conversation. But yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
yeah, we'll get
there's
to
only
that.
one. There's one Batman, Bruce Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's been other people that have been like, I'm Batman also, like Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond or whatever. Anyway. Yeah, exactly.
That
There's
is
Naruto,
true, but
there's
I'm talking
Baruto, there's
about- I'm talking
Goruto.
about, like the live action because
I
that's
get it.
how
I
I
get
get
it.
to it because it's like I don't.
But you know what's cool?
What?
There's only been one Iron Man so far, right?
Yeah,
That's
there
cool.
hasn't. That is.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
I think that's cool.
Congrats to Robert
Congrats.
Downey Jr. for
Congrats.
that.
Congrats.
All
From
right.
the Shaggy Dog to Iron Man.
I'll do a video game one for you.
Okay. All right.
Name one, because Nintendo would be way too easy. So name one Xbox exclusive series and name one PlayStation exclusive series.
Halo, Tekken.
Is Tekken PlayStation?
Maybe at one point. Okay, we'll go Halo and then we'll go Crash Bandicoot.
There you go.
Easy
Okay, that's a
peasy.
good one.
Easy
That's
peasy.
a good one.
Give me a harder one.
Okay.
Give me a harder video game question one.
Well, this
Let's see if I can get it.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
What? How,
Really hard.
What is,
Really hard, Lisa.
What does DLC stand for?
That's offensive. You know when you're hanging out with a friend and then you have that realization of like, oh, this person thinks I'm dumb. That sucks. they think I'm dumb.
You know what though? We talked about this in the car.
Downloadable content.
Before we get into that, because this question I do want to save later on because
Okay.
it goes into the next
This
portion
you,
of this.
To be fair, you did have this question set aside to be like, this is something that you want to just generally explain.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't think regular people know what
I
that
don't
is,
even
or
think-
even some of the
even some gamers don't even know.
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause
here's
they're-
one
they're
for
too
you.
young.
What
Okay.
does yaoi refer to?
Yowie? When you burn your hand on the stove. Yowie. 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 I
I'm
don't know.
surprised with your girlfriend being a voice actress, she has not explained what yaoi is.
No, I'm unfamiliar with Yowie.
Yaoi is basically male on male romance in anime.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
And yeah, so when you hear there's some yaoi in that series, that's usually what they're referring. And normally yaoi has like abusive kind of connotations to
Is
it.
it sort of like enemies to lovers kind of a thing?
More like like there's a power dynamic in the relationship.
Oh.
Yeah. But
Like a dom sub kind of a thing?
Yeah, but
Okay.
yaoi is a pretty popular
Yaoi.
term. And
All right.
you just learned a new one today.
I never heard it.
So if you want to watch some, gay anime, you're going to be watching some yaoi.
Yaoi.
Or some yuri.
Yuri.
There you go.
On ice?
Yeah, Yuri on Ice. There you go. Yuri actually is the female version of it.
Oh.
But Yuri is also the name of a character from Yuri on Ice, which is kind of like that's more boys' love. Boys' love is more innocent.
Got it.
Yaoi is a lot more for adults.
Got it. Okay.
And honestly, one of the things I want to talk about today is all the weird anime terms to begin with.
Okay, we can get into that.
Is there any? Also, I should just say, in my fandom, all the weird terms are just Japanese words. Because I realized that when I was writing these questions, I was like, oh, these aren't terms. These are just Japanese words that
from Japan that describe the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between a sensei and a senpai? Do you know that?
Yes.
What is that?
Teacher and student.
Yeah. See, there you go. There
that's
you go.
the words.
See, you know a question.
I know that stuff.
You know a question.
Here's one I got for you. A lot of people point to the history of fandom shipping as originating from these two characters that are from a 1960s television show.
Wait, I do know.
From the United States.
Wait.
What two characters?
I do know this.
To many people began fandom shipping. Two male characters.
Wait, I know this answer because I literally Googled it to figure out to explain what shipping was to Sam.
Yes.
Because she didn't know what shipping
meant.
meant.
The history of shipping in a relationship comes from many people consider these two characters.
Wasn't it Captain Kirk and Spock?
That's right, Lisa. You got it right.
Look at me. I'm so smart. Oh my God. Yeah, I knew that because I told my dad about that and he was like, yeah. That was his response. Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
gay.
that's true. Yeah.
All right. I don't have any more like big complicated questions because now I feel mean because I definitely had how many numbered Final Fantasy games are there out there?
Oh, 16.
You got it. There you go. But then I actually looked up
how many Star Wars films are there in the Skywalker saga?
You could have said
Lisa.
You could have literally just said
Lisa. How many Star Wars movies are there in the Skywalker saga? You got this.
I don't even know how many Star Wars movies there are.
You know this. You know
8.
This. No, we were looking for 9.
Shut the fuck up.
In the Skywalker saga, technically. We're not counting Solo. We're not counting Rogue One. So because those are a Star Wars story and they're not considered. The Skywalker saga is considered Anakin Skywalker to Luke Skywalker to Rey Skywalker. That the 3 trilogies. Bing, bang, bang.
Isn't all of them in the Skywalker saga?
No. The Star Wars saga, bigger picture, big framing device. What's a big prominent role? Who? No, but I don't know about that. The villain was Krennic, Orson Krennic, right? The hero was Jyn Erso.
Do you know what hentai is? There you go. There you go. But anyways, yeah, there's obviously a bunch of them, but it's like these are things I feel like people should know normally, right? Like I was actually shocked by the big 3. I thought big 3 was like common knowledge to anyone who's seen it.
Sure.
But that's the thing is that's
Bleach.
like that's me being a pretentious
I've not seen one
nerd.
frame of the show Bleach.
Well,
really, I have no idea because it just skip the generation.
It's just shonen.
Mm-hmm.
I watched all the big 3, and they're all the same thing.
Yeah,
that's what just shonen is.
Yeah.
Do you know what shonen is?
Yes.
Okay.
That's for boys.
Every question's gonna be, do you know what this is?
That's fine.
I mean, that's another thing too. Is that there's shonen, there's shoujo, there's seinen, and then there's josei. And then there's other ones as well.
And then there's Jose, who's a really nice, hardworking guy right now. And then there's No Way Jose.
And then there's No Way Jose.
Which is like when you disagree.
Well, do they have name? I mean, I don't think they would have an English equivalent to that, except for this is for boys, this is for girls, this is for men,
I guess it would be like, if we're talking about pop culture that is originating from the U.S., there are terms like YA. There are terms that sort of like describe more of like the age bracket. Do you know what I mean?
See, I don't know this.
Yeah.
See, this is a teaching moment for me.
There's YA. I know people who work in certain entertainment sectors that are like either they work in like toys or comic books or video games or whatever, and they'll be like, this is supposed to be this is young boys, which is to them it's the bracket of ages 6 to 13. And they're emphasizing more boys than girls, or they'll be like, this is all ages this, or this is YA, or this is teen, or this is tween.
Oh,
do you remember
like
those terms?
Young adult.
Yes, young adult.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Huh.
And you remember when we were growing up that things like Hannah Montana were blowing up, and we were like, oh, this is kind of a weird new genre of like live action sitcom. Not for teenagers, not for children, but right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then that word tween became a big thing
Yeah.
in media analysis and sort of like, oh, this is a whole demographic, the tween demographic.
I'm a tween for life.
Yeah, tween,
Yeah.
whatever. So anyway, I'm sure there are equivalent terms.
But there's always like a theme too with a lot of the series, like the Josei series, where it's like,
yeah, break that down. Like
it's
what?
It's almost like Josei's like always like romance,
Okay.
drama, and like magic girls.
Okay, cool.
Because it's almost like Japan's like, this is what girls like. And I think now in both cultures, things have gotten better over time, where it's like,
yes.
Like even Lego being like, girls play with Legos too, and they don't always want pink shit. Some girls want to be doctors and police officers. Don't be a police officer.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But in shonen, it's always been the same thing, where it's always like a really young impressionable boy has to apparently get his whole life together before he's 18, because then it ends. Like that's how.
Would Pokemon be considered shonen? Probably, right?
Actually, Pokemon's considered even younger, which has like a name that starts with like a K. It's like Kukemo something.
Kokomo? Way down in Kokomo?
Way down in Kokomo.
We'll take it fast and
yeah,
then we'll
but
take
technically
it
that
slow.
would be kind of a shonen, but since he's only 10 years old.
And he's like constantly trying to improve himself.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Shonen, which I associate with Dragon Ball Z, is characters that are like self-improvement. We have to train. We have to train and kind of better ourselves. Power, friendship, exceeding our limits. That's great.
And it is great, but it's also not great, because it also puts a lot of pressure on these kids to figure out their shit.
That's true.
At a very young age. That's why Gintama's the best shonen.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
there
right.
you go. I mean, there are shonens that aren't like that. Like Hunter x Hunter is like one of them, where it's like there is a storyline of a young boy who's trying to.
Go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
Or trying to power up, but doesn't follow the traditional path like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. And I think that's why Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece have the big three, is that each one of them kind of had like
separate
the similar. It's like Harry Potter. Like if you took out wizards and put ninjas, that's Naruto.
Yeah,
You take out and
you took out wizards and put in like superheroes. It's X-Men.
Yeah, it's like
you go to a school and you like learn how to be a superhero. Yeah,
I mean, Star Wars is kind of the same thing. It's kind of just
Star Wars is like a shonen.
Pirates in space, or the One Piece in space.
Yes,
there
found
you go.
family.
Yeah,
fighting an evil empire like in One Piece and all that other stuff. So go back though to those terms that you listed off,
because I
would like to get a definition of each one. We've kind of defined shonen. You just talked through it.
Yeah.
Go to the other ones. What were they?
And Josei, which is like magic girls,
magic
drama,
girl, Josei.
romance. Yeah. Or no, that's shoujo.
Yeah,
shoujo is young girls. So it's like,
yes,
this
I've
is
heard
what
that.
young girls like.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, Sailor Moon.
Shoujo.
Josei. Yes.
Shoujo.
God damn it. Shoujo.
And I'll also right now, on the American equivalent side, I'm going to say that She-Ra, Princess of Power, is a shoujo.
Yeah, because it's kind of magic girly.
And you literally transform, and also kind of so is He-Man, because he would say, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power.
He-Man
and then he
is
would
a
transform.
Sailor Scout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
okay.
you go.
And then what's the third one?
And then there's Seinen, which is for adult men, basically.
Because you have to sign in.
Yeah, you have to sign in
before you can go to work.
Sign in. Yeah.
Seinen.
Yeah. Which are normally
This is my girlfriend like teaching me Japanese too. Like I'm always
Seinen.
mispronouncing it. I'm like, oh, emphasis on that.
Seinen
Okay.
is mainly for men. They say in their 30s ish.
Okay.
And they're usually a lot more violent. There's a lot more war-torn kind of environments.
Okay.
A lot more serious, a lot more traumatic storylines.
Okay.
Which are basically just older shonens.
Okay.
It's basically like if Naruto was just 37. There you go.
So this is like comparatively, this is like Invincible or The Boys to like the superhero genre. It's like, okay, you're an adult. You have a full-time job. Enjoy this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of arguments of people being like, oh, Attack on Titan's not a shonen, it's a seinen. They think because like a shonen is very violent means it's a seinen. But it's like, well, no, because the protagonist is still a teenager.
Right.
It's,
that perspective.
It's still in the whole coming of age genre type thing.
Cool.
Like coming of age is a big thing in shonen. Like you don't see that much in seinen.
Got it.
It's like very much past the prime of their life where they're older and they're
I feel like Dandadan is shonen.
Very shonen.
Okay, good. What would be House Husband? What is that?
House Husband is a comedy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a comedy series. But
okay.
technically,
you didn't list that before. You didn't list comedy as a genre. Slice of life.
Yeah,
comedy.
because there's like the genres that are catered to the ages. I would say that one would probably fall into the seinen.
Okay.
Because
it's a little bit funnier kind of adult humor.
Yeah.
Not like gross, but like, hey, you have to be, you have to be working a dead end job to kind of think this is funny.
Yeah.
Kids
That's
aren't going to get
comedy
it.
sign-in. There you go. I shouldn't have said that. I just confused
Comedy
you.
sign-in.
Yeah.
Sign-in.
Sign-in
And
the
then
comedy.
what? And then those are
And then Josei.
Josei.
Which is the adult women. Like, yeah, because
what's in that?
Yeah, because shoujo's like the young
Sailor
romance
Moon.
dramas, blah blah. A lot of the josei I have seen is a lot more of the LGBTQ stuff.
Cool, very cool.
Or
good,
a lot
good.
of older, a lot of the josei I've watched have been older male protagonists, but there is a lot of older female protagonists, and they're always like drama and romance.
So this is like Matlock, Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what women want.
This is what women want.
Golden Girls.
And it's not catered around like older romantic relationships. It's usually catered around like people's personal, like figuring out what they want to do with their life. They're older, they're divorced, they're going through jobs. It's much more relatable content.
Okay.
A lot of it's very sad.
Yeah.
But that's what women like watching. We like watching sad shit. That's why a lot of boring white women love looking at murder documentaries. That is their josei.
Josei.
Yeah,
You don't
josei.
say. You don't say, Lisa.
But that's the thing too, is that a lot of that a lot of anime watchers usually just deep dive into the shonens.
Yes.
Like the Narutos, the
and
JJK.
And especially anime watchers in the Western world, in the United States. That's it's the same with superheroes being the predominant comic book thing.
It's also a marketing thing though.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people get mad at like, Viz and Crunchyroll and stuff for really pushing
that stuff.
Or like
but it's what sells.
Or the isekai, which is another one.
What is that?
Is the alternative world stuff. Like I got stuck in another world and I'm a slime. Like that stuff where it's like, can I date my sister in another universe? Like those are always grossly problematic.
Cool.
But they market those in shonens because they're like, well, we think that this is what will sell. But a lot of people are like, I want to see what else is out there.
Sure.
And they don't push that stuff as well.
Right.
Even though most of those series are very, very good.
But then again, it's because it might be, it's kind of, I imagine the same as like Western media. It's harder. You have to take a chance on that stuff. It's harder to market. It's harder to sort of say, hey, niche audience, we have this thing that might be more catered to you. It might not be as generally appealing, but man, you're going to love it if you can find it. And we have to sink money into marketing that. And so now we're just talking about art versus commerce, baby. That's commercialism. That's
I do think it's a chance thing because like I've dated people and like been friends with people who are into anime and I give them recommendations like, oh, what's that quote? And you're like, oh, it's from One with the Wind. What's that about? It's about these guys that join a track team. Like, oh, boring. I'm like, you didn't even. Also, look at me. You think I'm boring? Is that what you're saying? That I have boring interests?
Yeah, you don't think my recommendation for you is thoughtful?
Yeah.
How dare?
Yeah, I get boring tattoo on my... I
get mad at that
and
too,
listen, and I get that people are like, oh, I only like anime if it's all action stuff. Cool, great, good for you. Just don't talk to me ever again.
I did this exact thing when we were at Disneyland with our friend Michelle. I was talking up Monster energy drinks, sugar-free. I was like, have you had one of these? They're amazing. And she was like, no, I'm not. I think that tastes gross. And I went, excuse me? Do you think I would be making a gross recommendation right now? You don't think I have taste buds? You don't think I'm like, I was like offended. I'm like, have you tried one? And she goes, no, I haven't. And then she goes, the sugar-free Red Bulls are gross though. I said, I know, but I'm not making this recommendation lightly. And then so in the park, I found a place that was selling it right outside Guardians of the Galaxy, and I bought a sugar-free Monster, and I said, here, crack this open, take a sip.
And she liked it.
And she was like, God damn it, this is good. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you.
Monster, wherever our sponsor is, just let me know. But that's also, I think, another reason why nerds just kind of just stay in their own areas, because it's like, I don't want to deep dive into things that people aren't going to be interested in if they don't want to give it a chance.
I don't know. I mean, Lisa, you're describing nerds. It's like, that's such a huge... We also have social anxiety. We also, we're protective. We're gatekeepers, and that's not a good thing. And sometimes sometimes it's good to be protective of the thing.
I'm not anymore. I'm like, please like all my things.
Yes.
Because then I can look cooler to you.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Otherwise, they're like, what's that man on your hand? I'm like, he's Reagan from Mob Psycho. Or I say I have a Reagan tattoo, like Ronald Reagan. I'm like, no,
you have to say from Mob Psycho.
Different Reagan. That would be very
from
weird.
The Exorcist? The little girl from The Exorcist?
If I had Ronald Reagan tattooed on my hand,
Mob Psycho.
That would be very problematic
Absolutely.
on this podcast.
You wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be friends with you.
Yeah.
If Ronald Reagan.
And in the car, we're talking about video game genre stuff too.
Yeah. Do you want to get into
This
that?
was my question that I
Go
didn't
ahead.
ask, but I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to ask. But
Go
somebody
ahead.
on my stream the other day asked me, wait, so what are your favorite type of video games? Because we are both
Ooh,
gamers.
Yeah. But I'm more of a casual or retro gamer is what I call myself.
Yeah.
And you're up to speed and you're playing the new DLC of the new
Which
golden
is downloadable content.
of the new Golden Rings Elden Souls. You're on it. You're
Golden
playing the
Ring Elden
newest
Souls.
thing. This is the Dork Souls podcast. And my favorite genres are I like platformers. I like racing games and kart racing games. I don't like fighting games, but I like Super Smash Brothers style fighting games. Those are fun.
Like arena type.
Yeah. I like action adventure games, and I like RPGs. Sometimes not too heavy on the RPG, more heavy on the action side. So like a Zelda is my sweet spot, which has some RPG elements, but it's not really an RPG. I know that. Don't come for me. I know the difference.
But Ocarina of Time is the reason why RPG elements even exist. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the granddaddy.
Yeah.
And there's still elements of like, oh, my character's leveling up in some way. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. I got more heart containers. Whatever. So those are probably my favorite types of game. Is maybe a little bit more cash, not the most in-depth thing.
But those are,
Yeah.
you say cash.
Yeah, they're casual.
I wouldn't say like
Yes.
some of those aren't casual.
Like what? What's not casual?
Like I
A
feel
kart
like
racing
I
game?
thought another thing. I'm gonna say here's a thing a
Okay.
lot on this podcast.
That's
okay,
fine. That's
that's my way of not saying like too much.
Okay, that's okay. You could say
Here's
like.
the thing.
Go ahead.
I thought Zelda was very casual gameplay because
Yeah.
of my guy friends growing up bullied me for being a fake gamer
And
then
playing Zelda, but not playing like
and
Final
now-
Fantasy VI.
And now somebody who plays more of the Souls likes and Metroidvanias
It's mainstream.
and roguelikes, it made me realize that playing those casual games, in quote, made me
Mhm.
so much better at these other ones and know certain
true.
mechanics, like
It's true.
that wall looks bombable, or I think this is probably like a three phase fight, or those are things you learn from playing those games.
Mhm.
And so, and
You're
a
like
lot of,
Bane from Batman. Are you familiar with Bane from Batman?
yeah,
Tom
sh-
Hardy?
yeah.
Because you were like, I was raised on the games.
Oh, I was
raised on the Zelda.
But also, we are older
Yes.
gamer generation.
Look at the gray in my beard.
Yeah, look, I dye mine.
Yeah, it looks
My
great.
beard. But now that I stream, my audience is primarily like 20-something-year-olds.
Yeah.
Ocarina came out when I was 8. They weren't even born yet.
Stop. Lisa, can you stop?
Yeah.
Can you stop
So-
talking about this right now? Can
So
you stop?
to me, these aren't casual
Shut up, though.
games.
Shut up. Stop talking about the history of Zelda. Stop saying real years. Because in my brain, 20 years ago is Ocarina of Time. But in reality, 20 years ago is like what? Twilight Princess or
Yeah.
like Skyward Sword
Yeah, it
or
was
some gross thing where I'm like, shut up.
Definitely
Stop.
GameCube era.
Don't.
Almost Wii era.
20 years ago is like Phantom Hourglass on the DS.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it's no longer it's no
Sorry,
longer
Mark.
really a casual gaming if
I get it.
most of the majority of gamers have not played it.
Can I say something else too? Just
Yeah.
like the thing that I love about the stuff that I love, I will get into the history of it. And I do love comic book history. I think it is fucking fascinating. I love it. I love learning about how those things were made.
But
I love the history of it. There's no but. In addition to, I love the history of video games. You know, I remember, I think it was watching you stream Metal Gear Solid, maybe last year or something, because you were first getting into it. And we have a mutual friend, Anthony Carboni. And I was like, I want to start getting into this too. And you were like, Hector, jump in, play Metal Gear Solid. And I was like, hang on, there's 2 Metal Gear games on the Nintendo though. And Carboni was like, you don't need to play those. And I was like, that doesn't compute in my brain, man. That's the history. I'm like, I'm a completionist. I should play those. I know one of them was just an Americanized sequel, Snake's Revenge, but I'm like, I still want to, shouldn't I start there? And most people are like, nah, you could just, but to me, that's like, I could never, there are people that are like, hey man, just watch the most recent Marvel movie. And in my brain, I'm like, you got to start with Iron Man 1. That came out in 2008. And right now, there are young people going, I was born in 2008. Like, that makes me puke.
I've tried
That's crazy.
having people play the Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
But unfortunately,
And
because
it's too old now.
N64 and PS1 graphics don't translate very well.
Yeah, they hurt our eyeballs
Yeah.
now.
I don't have no idea how I was able to beat that game at 8 years old. And then I played it
Can I say something else? There's another
Yeah.
thing. When TVs were not high def, those graphics looked better on those TVs.
Oh,
they were
absolutely.
more rounded and kind of softer. Whereas now when you play Ocarina of Time in some sort of like ROM or some emulator or something, some like high def console or, you know, whatever, you're like, it's so sharp. Oh my God. Laura Croft's boobs are so pointy. They weren't that pointy back then. They were regular.
They were regular
polygons.
Regular polygons. But I tell people there's still no excuse. If I was able to play Metal Gear Solid 1 from PS1
for the first time,
just last year,
you can appreciate the history of the stuff.
Also, they're not the controls are still fine.
Dude, there's a reason. Dude, original Mario. There's a reason those games had the impact they had. You play something like that. Yes, they're so simplistic. Even Pong, even Tetris, those games are barely any polygons. They're barely any programming. But Tetris is a perfect video game.
Yeah.
It does not get better designed than the beauty and the simplicity of that. And you start playing, you're like, oh, anyone on earth can pick this up and play it and understand it and become not everybody can become an expert at it, but like everyone can. That's awesome, I think, dude. That's great.
People are still pretentious about graphics. Bloodborne, I'm replaying right now, one of my favorite games of all time, which we'll definitely talk
I don't know what it is.
Way more in the future.
Is that a rogue? Is that a rogue?
We do not have
Souls?
enough time to talk about it today.
Is that a roguelike?
It's a Souls-like.
Souls-like? Or do we not have time to, or what are we doing for the last 15? Oh, we're
not talking about Bloodborne.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. But Bloodborne is one of the PS4 games that never got a remaster, so it's still playing at like 30 FPS.
Dude, and PS4 to me is cutting edge graphics.
Right? And
what are you talking about?
I'm playing it right now,
Stop.
and it still looks amazing. Like, I don't want to play it until it's remastered at 60 FPS.
Stop.
Our eyesight isn't even 60 FPS. The game is fine. Grow up.
We're gonna have to add a title. We're gonna have to add a word to the title of this podcast.
Yeah.
This is not the Dork Souls Podcast. This is the old Dork Souls Podcast.
This is the old ass
Every
Dork
week
Souls.
we're gonna be like, and another thing, PS4 is good graphics.
And that's the thing.
That's the thing. And another thing is you kids and your whippersnappers and you never. I
do love good graphics.
Yeah.
But that's not why I play the games. If the cutscenes are great, cool.
I know, dude.
I just want the game to be playable.
I don't watch movies because it's like, oh, did you know that like Weta Workshop worked on this or whatever? I'm like, that's cool. They're good at special effects.
Just two old people complaining about kids these
Let's bring
days.
it back. What are you into right now, Lisa?
What am I into right now? Yeah,
let's be positive.
What is the positive right now?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I'm replaying Bloodborne because I love my Souls-likes, which I never explained the difference between that and roguelikes.
Do we have time? Do you want to save that for next week?
Sure, I'll save that for next week.
Okay, great.
But I love my Souls-like games. I will replay them all the time. I'm obsessed with them. They ruin my life, and exciting to play them for a second time because I can see I thought it was so good, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing great. And then I get to the end, I was like, I actually suck ass at this game.
It tells you your progress or something at the end. It tells you
like
it's
how
just
that
you were at
I'm
it?
like, I'm killing it, and then I get to a boss, and I'm still stuck on the same boss.
Ooh.
Even though I know how to beat it this time, but I haven't played the game in 4 years. I just like a nice challenge, so I'm really into that right now.
Good.
I'm back on my anime shit.
Cool.
So I'm watching Sakamoto Days.
What is that about?
Oh, it's basically Way of the House Husband. But for shonen. But yeah, so instead of him being an ex-Yakuza, he's an ex-assassin.
From an assassin school?
Yeah, and you should watch it. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's weekly.
Okay.
And one of my favorite voice actors plays the main character, Sakamoto. And yeah, it's just one of those wholesome, like, I stopped killing people because I have a wife now and I want to protect my family. But
I like that.
For some reason, unlike Way of the House Husband, where he's completely avoid the Yakuza life, the assassin life still follows him. So he still gets caught in shit.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. That's from The Godfather Part 3.
Yep. And I'm watching that. And then I'm watching Delicious in Dungeon.
Seen it.
Yeah. Did you watch the whole thing?
Whole season, baby. Did I watch an anime you haven't seen yet?
So I had watched a few episodes and kind of fell off.
Okay.
But now that the world's on fire,
Yep.
I need something wholesome.
Yep.
It's very wholesome.
Yes, it is.
And
it's very weird.
But the one thing I don't like about it, even everyone's obsessed with it. I get it. The one thing I like about it is they over-explain
everything.
Every cooking mechanic,
yes.
which is cool in like Food Wars, where I can take this knowledge and apply it to real life, but I'm not going to cook a living armor, so I don't care that much.
Oh, so it's the cooking stuff. I think it's a fascinating...
It's very Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter, which is a video game series.
Yes.
I think it's a fascinating perspective because it comes from a manga, Delicious in Dungeon.
And
Dungeon Meshi. And the manga writer and artist are the same person. So it's one artist that's also writing the story. I feel like, and then the translation into the anime, I feel like it's this one person's perspective on a more traditional, what we would think of high fantasy world, whether that's like Lord of the Rings or Dungeons and Dragons, whatever it is. But they're taking like your basic, like, okay, you have to go into a dungeon and there's monsters and there's dragons and you have armor,
And there's not a lot of fantasy anime unless it's
that's true.
isekai.
That's true. So it's really cool to have a Japanese perspective on stuff that I would argue has traditionally been more European, Eurocentric.
Yes.
This medieval sort of fake
Hence
historical.
why I love Dark Souls.
Yeah. Yes. Same thing.
Yep.
But what's crazy about this perspective is that like this one person is really thinking through everything and going, well, the only way you could really survive in a dungeon, you got to eat the monsters. And I'm like, hang on. It's almost like when J.K. Rowling was like, there's no toilets and poop in Hogwarts. They just make it go away. And you go, why did you explain that? I did not need an explanation for the logistics of pooping in your fantasy world.
I didn't know that until now because I never watched Harry Potter.
No, but this was a detail that some fan asked 15 years ago or something. And this dumbass transphobic author at the time was like, oh, they just use magic wands and like, as a way to, I'm like, you should never have answered that.
You could have just said they had a magic toilet.
Because you open up the sort of, can of worms of like, okay, well then if this, then this. And then all of a sudden you start unraveling the threads of the logic of this world. And I go, you don't want to do that. Because none of these fantasy worlds, when you really keep pulling at that thread, will stay together. They're all fake make-em-ups. They're all, I'm talking superheroes, Star Wars.
The over-explanations or the TMI type thing.
And then, I don't know how far you've gotten, but you get to a point where like they meet fantasy monsters that are sort of like, like here's a Kelpie, which is like this beautiful water horse, which is a real thing in like Irish folklore or Celtic folk, whatever it is.
I used to have one.
A Kelpie, a horse, they eat it. And you start going, I don't know how you're justifying that they're like, no, it's not a horse. It's just kind of looks like one, but it's another thing. It's a dungeon monster, so it's okay. We're going to eat this horse.
Yeah. I love Food Wars and I like fantasy elements, but for me, I was like, I actually learned real life things from watching Food Wars. This is like,
this is
cool.
unhelpful knowledge because it's not,
I guess if I can use this knowledge in other video games and
here's how to cook a giant frog.
Yeah, it's just things that are like, it's cute. It's nothing that's going to make me tear up or get highly invested in.
Okay.
But it is a casual watch.
It has moments that are so funny.
Yeah, there are some really funny
Delicious
movies.
in Dungeon. It's insane.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it like, what are they doing? This is crazy.
This is crazy. What about you, Hector? What are you excited
What am I
about?
into? We have 9 minutes. What am I into right now?
I have another thing. I just don't want to
thing?
take over the
the
segment.
Well, then should I go quick? I'll go quick.
No, yeah. You have
Get back
to hurry
to you?
up. I have to, No, just
I
kidding.
have been getting back into He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I mentioned He-Man earlier and She-Ra. And I never watched the original 80s cartoon, not really.
My only knowledge of He-Man is the YouTube video where he's singing Four Non-Blondes.
Yeah. And I wake in the morning and I step outside and that song, by the way, made it into the new Ninja Turtles animated movie. Did you see that one?
No.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. It was the one that was like produced by Seth Rogen and his production company. And the turtles are like real teenagers and they're voiced by like young actors and it's really cute. Ninja Turtles is dope.
Four Non-Blondes.
They play the song they say, what's going on? They actually do the original Four Non-Blondes and then it goes into the He-Man remix because at one point, I think it's Mondo Gecko, voiced by Paul Rudd, is playing that song in the van that they're driving and then the turtles sabotage it and then the van crashes and Mondo Gecko goes, what's going on? In slow motion and then it goes into the He-Man song. That's a great thing that now you know.
I love a music transition.
It's really great.
Just like
so anyway, that's basically He-Man. But I'm getting back into it, and I'm watching. They did a Netflix more for the old adults fans of the show in 2021, and then they did a season 2 last year in 2024 that I still haven't seen. But they like brought back He-Man and did like the epic animated by great animation studios overseas. So it has a little bit of an anime influence in certain moments when He-Man like jumps up and cuts a shadow beast or whatever. But it was like so high stakes and so over the top melodramatic and so cool. It was like these characters died and then these characters are like, no,
and it's all 2D animation, right?
Beautiful hand-drawn animation on Netflix. It was rad. It was rad. So I rewatched that. I'm getting back into He-Man and then they did some tie-in comic books and I just read like the origin of Skeletor. And it's heartbreaking. It's so good.
I feel like Skeletor is a character I would fall in love with.
Because his original name was Keldor, and he was never always skeleton head. Something happened to him, and he was this really handsome looking,
Of course he was.
like sorcerer. And then he got this thing happened to him, and then he had his memory wiped. So it's an awesome comic book story that I read, and I was like, this reframes the entire He-Man mythos.
Karate Kid.
Yes. Yeah, where like Cobra Kai, where like you learn actually like the bully, like his backstory, and you're like, well, actually, shit, dude. Maybe I'm rooting for the wrong guy.
This is why I love anime. I love
Yes.
an overly overtold
love it.
backstory.
Yeah.
I love a deep dive.
So
you
He-Man
know?
is, for me, it's the perfect balance of like, it's really silly. It's what did you say? Orochimaru. What is that? Is that also
Is
from
that
Naruto?
Naruto?
Great.
We love a Naruto.
Damn, dude.
I was also gonna
Mark's
say
dorkier than both of us, dude. What are we doing?
Yeah,
We're coming in like, Mark, I don't know if you're
just saw-
ready for this.
I
We
don't
have a
know if you
real,
just saw
we
my
have a real
face, but I was
dorky
like-
podcast.
I don't know if you just saw my face, but I was like, Mark, you're blowing me away right now.
I'm too cool for this
with-
podcast.
With all
dude.
this stuff.
I'm too mainstream.
Not to
I
go
gotta
back
get
to the
outta
Disney
here.
thing. When
ahead.
I did go on the Mickey's Railway,
Nothing can
and-
stop us now.
and you asked me what I loved about
Yes.
it, and I said, I'm obsessed with 2D animation.
Yes.
3D animation is great. I've seen great 3D,
Yeah.
but I love 2D animation because there's so much more. There's so much more life to it, in my opinion.
In many ways, there is.
Yeah, and there's so much.
Yes.
There's so much variety.
Yeah.
And the Mickey Railroad, what's it called?
Mickey's Runaway Railroad.
Was one of my favorite rides
It's incredible.
because of the animation. And the people I was with, they didn't really understand it. They're like, "What do you mean by 2D animation?" I'm like, I don't like. And that's the thing. It's
Ooh.
a thing where it's like, I don't want to get into it.
Who didn't understand? Was it Sam?
Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna call her after this. Can we call her in the car?
It was Sam and Michelle. They're like, oh, I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, just
No.
they
You know
didn't-
what's amazing
but-
about that ride? They took Mickey Mouse, who is designed as a flat 2D character. When Mickey turns his head, his ears will never not
Yeah.
be the silhouette because they need Mickey to keep his silhouette. You'll never see Mickey turn and all of a sudden his flat ears disappear.
Yeah,
So what they did is in that ride, and it has been in the past, whenever there's a CG version of Mickey Mouse, when he was in the car with Minnie, like they map his face on so that when he turns, like his head turns, but the ears stay.
yeah.
It's awesome.
It is pretty. It's a little creepy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not. It's not
yeah.
totally natural
Yeah.
because that's not the Mickey that we know, but it is what Mickey would look like.
Who's a little
in real
bird? The
life.
Chubby,
Chubby,
or Chubby,
who's supposed to be chubby, but somebody misspelled it, so now it's Chubby.
which I learned actually from Michelle. She
Yes.
told me that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, the way they animate Chubby, I almost
It's so
cried.
Cute. It's so cute.
Because
Mhm.
I have no problems with 3D animation, but
And you should also
There's not
clarify,
a lot-
Lisa, and you should say you have no problems with CG animation. Sorry
Yeah.
to correct you.
yeah,
Because 3D, that's a whole nother ballgame, baby.
Yeah.
3D, that's my area of expertise.
yeah,
3D is 3D. That means
yeah.
this.
3D,
But
yeah,
traditional CG animation, we're talking the Shreks, we're talking the Pixars, we're
Yeah.
talking,
yeah,
all the
which are all
stuff
good.
today.
But so many of that stuff now is like mocapped as
Yes.
well, and
Yeah.
and you can't really
like
have a lot of
secret level.
you can't even have a lot of variety involved with it.
It's tough.
Like with
Mhm.
the old cartoons, like you can have them look
Oh
you
my
can have them
God.
look comic book style. You can have them be big and flashy.
Yeah.
And so I love the ride.
I'm so glad you like that ride. That was great.
It was delightful for a nerd. It was
Mhm.
just like, this is a good nerd ride. Because
Yeah.
everything else is cool, but it's like,
Yeah.
you can see enough puppets and wax figures.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. but
Yeah, you
this-
get real over it at Disneyland. You're like,
Yeah.
I've seen this.
Yeah, this one
Get
was
outta
very
here.
refreshing.
Yeah.
But
Super cute. Awesome.
I mean, I have more things to be
Okay,
excited
well,
about.
we have
But
3 minutes. Go. What else?
the
quick.
DMC anime teaser for April that's coming out,
What does that stand for?
Devil May Cry.
And what is Devil May Cry?
Which is one of the greatest gaming series of all time.
Cool. It's a video game series where you play a character who fights demons,
Yeah.
right?
And he also becomes a demon.
Cool.
Yeah. And Devil May Cry, which I didn't know this, the original one was actually supposed to be Resident Evil 4.
Cool.
It was supposed to be the sequel to Resident Evil 3, and then they were like,
But then they
this
pivoted
is,
into
this
its
is
own
too
thing.
much of
That's
its own
cool.
thing, so we're going to make it its own
What's
thing.
the main character's name?
Dante.
Dante.
And his brother Virgil.
And he's a demon himself, but he hunts demons?
Yeah, he can turn, his dad is a demon,
Cool.
so he has demon
It's
powers.
kind of like Blade, right? Wesley
Yeah,
Snipes?
and
Because
it's
he's
so,
the daywalker?
it's so horny and campy, which I
Cool.
love. Like
Cool.
the Devil May Cry 3, he had like a strap, and that was
Oh,
it.
yeah,
He had like
that
a
was his
red
shirt.
leather jacket and just a titty strap.
Oh, my God.
And he loves pizza. He's a goofball.
Yeah.
And so
I know Dante because what fighting game is he in? Isn't he in like Soul Calibur or what am I thinking of? He's in some new Mortal Kombat. Like they put him into a fighting game and he says goofy shit. I was like, this guy's
that makes
great.
sense. I don't know.
Maybe
because
Marvel versus Capcom. That's what I'm thinking of.
It might.
Because he's a Capcom character.
Yeah, he's a Capcom guy, so that makes sense. Because I only played the Devil May Cry games.
Cool.
I still haven't played 4 though, which I really need to play.
Okay.
So I'm a fake fan.
But now there's going to be a new animated show coming out based on that. You're stoked
and
about
they
it.
did make an anime years ago.
Yep.
Which was based off, I think, Devil May Cry 2. So this one will be a more updated one. And I saw in the teaser alone, it was like references to all past characters and Virgil, because I love him. But they use Limp Bizkit as the teaser opening. So good. And people are like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, it makes purpose. This is the Fast and the Furious of video games.
Oh,
this makes
now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, this. It's so campy. It's so over top and knows it is. I mean, the last theme song from Devil May Cry 5 was called Devil Trigger. Pull my devil trigger. Come on. Like that is
like his penis?
His penis. His devil trigger turns him into a devil because they're, demons, devils, whatever.
Okay,
And it's
you're losing me. You're losing me.
Yeah, that's how they use it. And so his son's like, or Virgil's son's like, pull my devil trigger, turns into a devil, and he literally says, "Fuck you, Dad," to Virgil in the game. He does.
He does?
He says, "Fuck you."
Great.
To his dad. It's so campy and it's so over the top. So yeah, Limp Bizkit, of course they're gonna have a new metal opening.
That's cool.
So I'm excited to see that.
Great.
That alone.
New metal and you metal. That's new metal.
New metal.
New metal.
Yeah.
Not with a W or an E.
I hope they put more in it. I want all of it to just be
Whose idea? That's got to be somebody on the U.S. side, or is that someone in Japan that's familiar with?
It's the Japanese opening. It showed.
Really?
Yeah.
So somebody in Japan is like, we love Limp Bizkit. We have to put Limp Bizkit. Like they're that tapped into the sort of irony of like liking Limp Bizkit, or are they sincere?
They had this guy Casey Edward do the soundtrack for Devil May Cry 5, and it's very
He's an American guy?
It's very Limp Bizkit-y.
Is he an American guy?
Yeah, it is.
But he did it for even the Japanese release. He did the soundtrack.
Yeah, like
That's
the music is so it's like gym bro music.
Can you imagine getting that job and getting hired, and then it's like, we need you to fly to Japan and maybe live there for a while and like do this music for this video game?
I will show you.
That's awesome.
The music that he did. It is so good.
He probably could have done that job.
So yeah,
remote.
I'm very excited for that to come out in April.
Cool.
On Netflix,
soon.
Probably. Yeah.
I'm excited about, speaking of soon on Netflix, but not on Netflix, Disney Plus, the new Daredevil live action show. That's going to be in March. Daredevil's cool.
I have yet to watch any of the live action shows of the Marvels.
That's fine.
I can make
recommendations to you. Can I be honest? I think the one that you might really like for 2 reasons. Number 1, you're a lady who lives in Los Angeles. And number 2, you're tall. You should watch She-Hulk. That's a great show.
Okay.
She-Hulk's tall. Hang on a minute. Pause.
Okay.
Stop. Take that again, Lisa.
Lisa,
I just told you the Monster Energy drink story. How are you going to handle that
What I was
recommendation?
about to say, you didn't let me finish. I said, okay, that could be content for a Patreon episode.
No. Nice try. Nice save. No. The actual response was, hey, you should watch this show. And you went, okay. That was the response I got.
I'll have my roommate put it on the background.
Oh my God.
We'll see what it is.
Stop.
Anyways.
My girlfriend, who you trust more than me, she loves that show. And she was cynical about that whole concept and idea of She-Hulk.
I am not cynical about it.
Because it is a silly idea.
It's just a thing where
but
it's
once you know what that character is, once you know who that character is and kind of what the target audience is, it's awesome.
Tall women.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I love it. It will be on my list.
Stop. You're never going to watch it.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching this over an hour of content because we can't stop talking. And we'll see you for our next episode.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.